Right, so the 2022 F1 season finished recently, on Sunday, and was it was a pretty fairly balanced season, I'd say, and since everyone's doing it, and there's a good chance for views, and I'm desperate, this is going to be my tier list of all of the best drivers of 2022. And I did try to film this on Tier Maker, but I broke my OBS, so we're doing it in Paint instead. Woo! So these are the 6 tiers we have. Stinky, A Season to Forget, Meh, Good, Solid, and Giga. And let's not get bogged down in anything. Let's jump right into it. So the first driver we got right here is Nicholas Latifi. Wonder where he's gonna go. It's just self-explanatory. I mean, come on. Alright, next up we have Alex Albon, and Albon had a pretty good season. He kept on dragging that car places it did not belong, especially in Australia. Incredible drive, literally pitted with 1 lap to go. The rest of the race he spent on, I'm pretty sure hard tyres. That is absolutely incredible, and he dragged that Williams to the point so many times. He is deserving of a good season. Now Mick Schumacher, whilst I hate to see it, I'm sorry Mick, you didn't really do much. Whilst I absolutely hate to say this, it breaks my heart, but Mick got done dirty about the pixelation, but Mick has to go on the stinky pile. Whereas on the other end of it, Kevin Magnussen, absolute hyper chad, somehow managed to sneak a pole position in a Haas. Tell that to someone in 2019. Or tell that to someone last year. Fought Lewis Hamilton well for P4 in Saudi Arabia. P5 in the first race he got as well. He's done absolutely incredible. Kevin Magnussen had a solid season. Now we've got Zhou Guanyu. Zhou Guanyu and also Valtteri Bottas, they had similar seasons. I'm gonna put them in. Actually, I'm gonna put Zhou Guanyu in meh, because whilst he did have some solid performances once again, just like Kevin Magnussen, just like in Bahrain, but at the same time, he didn't really do much to be remembered by. However, Valtteri Bottas, whilst he was quite forgotten, I didn't forget him. I was keeping an eye on him. He had an absolutely solid season. He pulled off some incredible drives, dragging that Alfa Romeo to places it did not belong multiple times. One of his best drives in Mexico. He went so under the radar, but he pulled off an absolutely mega drive. Pretty sure he got P6 that race in an Alpha on merit. Insane. And now Lance Stroll, once again, he just did a stroll. Oh, I would put him down there, but all of his seasons are kind of seasons to forget, so I'll put him in meh. That was, you can't really don't want him. And now Sebastian Vettel. I would put him in meh, but he did have a good few performances, and it may be the fact that he's retired. It's making me sad and nostalgic, but I'm gonna put him in good. That may be set to change, but I'm gonna put him in good for now. Now, Danny Rick. Unfortunately, it's sad to say, but I'm gonna put him in season to forget. He did have a couple of good drives, but he was completely outshone by his teammate, and I'm just hoping that he takes this year out well and comes back to his former glory. Speaking of his teammate, we have Lando Norris, and I'm not really sure if this is a controversial opinion, but personally I believe since 2020, Lando Norris has been third place in just driver merit. He's been the third best driver since 2020, behind Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. I don't know how controversial an opinion that is, but I don't give a shit. I will live and die on this hill. And up next is the person who we beat in the World Championship, Esteban Ocon. Kind of like both Alfa Romeo drivers, he got forgotten, and he does tend to get forgotten in races, but he did actually have a pretty good season. He did manage to beat Fernando Alonso, but that was purely just down to Fernando having. That was just purely down to his teammate Fernando Alonso having really bad reliability, and for that pure reason, and also some absolutely incredible drives pulled off by the Spaniard, I'm putting the two-time world champion up in solid. Like he drove incredibly all year, and then we have Yuki Tsunoda, which is I felt like this is an accurate representation of the Japanese driver. I'm going to put him in good. For the year, this is the first time in his Formula One career where he kind of outdrove his teammate Pierre Gasly, and for Pierre, it's just been a bit of a season to forget. He had a couple of decent drives, but other than that, he flew under the radar, and he didn't have, from what I can remember, he didn't have all too many absolutely stellar drives. So that's the reason why I'm putting him in meh. Now, Lewis Hamilton. Some people may argue, oh, he didn't get a win, but I don't care. There's a reason he's a 7-time world champion, and that's because he always delivers the goods. Well, almost always. At the start of the season, yes, he fell behind. He fell behind massively at the start of the season, but he pulled it back, and he had some solid drives, you know. USA nearly winning. That was incredible. But, however, I'm going to go back to the argument, he didn't win. And he didn't get any pole positions. His teammate George Russell, however, absolutely dominated in Brazil. Once again, an accurate representation. Absolutely dominated in Brazil and got a shot pole position at Hungary. And he also got a pole at the end of the sprint race. He started first for the normal race. George Russell had a solid season, you know. I'm putting him there. Now we get to the top 4. Carlos Sainz Jr. So, it was a bit of same old with Carlos Sainz. When he wasn't doing something absolutely incredible, the TV camera seemed to be allergic to him, but Carlos actually had a pretty good season. He got his maiden win. He was able to be a good teammate to Charles Leclerc. But in the end, except for Silverstone, there was nothing absolutely incredible in the season. However, his teammate Charles Leclerc, for Charles Leclerc, I think that he personally would put it as a season to forget because it was all fell apart after Hungary. But Charles Leclerc had an absolutely stellar season this year. Let's think about it individually for a second. Don't think about Max. Don't think about the title fight. He was absolutely rapid in qualifying all year, and he had a few good race wins. Like Australia this year was one of the most dominant drives of all time. No one can take that away from him. It was incredible. Next we have Checo Perez. Once again, also got done dirty by the pixelation. But anyways, so whilst Checo was in the title hunt for a decent bit of the season, I don't know, some of his performances were a bit lackluster, but at the same time, he did play an incredible teammate to Max Verstappen, which one of the reasons I was quite mad after Brazil. But yeah, so I'm gonna put Checo Perez as having a solid season, and up next we have the 2-time reigning world champion Max Verstappen. Easy choice. And now we have our two. No, we didn't. And so Max Verstappen, he won 15 races this year. And there are going to be some people saying cost capping. Oh, there's 22 races in the season. I don't give a shit. Who cares? Oh, there's 22 races. Who cares about the number of races in the season? He still won 15 races. Unless there's 100 races in the season, that is still really impressive. He absolutely dominated this year. He had a giga season, just like Charles Leclerc and just like Lando. And now we're going onto our 2 reserve drivers. Nick de Vries only had 1 drive, and it was absolutely giga. This might be controversial, putting him above Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, all of these lot, but I don't care. He missed a practice session. I'm pretty sure he missed 2. I'm pretty sure he missed 2 practice sessions on FP1 and FP2 on the Friday. Came in for FP3 on Saturday, then did qualifying. Pretty sure he was set to go into Q3 until he locked up. Then he finishes P9 in a heavily contested Monza race in that midfield. in a Williams. A Williams. It was absolutely incredible. Nick de Vries had a giga season of one race. No, Nico Hülkenberg. Nico Hülkenberg. I hate to say this, also I don't know what happened to his picture. It just got goofed. But I don't really, I hate to say this, but like I would put it in good, but I know that would be coming from a bit of bias. He was driving an Aston Martin, so this is going in meh. Like I hate to say it, but like he was driving an Aston Martin, only did 2 races, and it just obviously since he was an Aston Martin, he couldn't really do that well. So yeah, that is my tier list. If I had to rank the drivers from, first to 5th, it would probably be Max, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris. I'm gonna put George Russell there, and maybe somewhat controversial, but 5th best driver of the season, I'm putting Valtteri Bottas. He was forgotten for a good bit of the season, but he managed to bring the goods. Oh, put up graphically. Yep. So, if the 2 people watching this video have any disagreements with that, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and have a nice day.
Dick in my mouth, dick in my ass. I suck dick while I'm in class. You know I go to hell. You know I'm mad. Yeah. Alright, that's it.